Canyon makes bicycles. Very nice bicycles. They're ridden in the Tour de France, but the German brand doesn't just make high-end road bikes. It also makes gravel bikes, mountain bikes, e-bikes, fat bikes and city bikes. It also now makes cars. Sort of. I'm Carlton Reid, and I've written an article for Forbes.com that explains how and why Canyon is getting into the car market. Their concept electric car that's unveiled today, 1st of September 2020, is a lightweight, skinny, human-powered vehicle that almost but not quite fits in the microcar class. The car has to be pedalled, and it's a cycle with a roof on it, really. Now, as the author of a book which explores how 1890s bicycle companies made the first cars, and how they morphed into automobile companies, I really enjoyed talking with Canyon because this is potentially a history repeats itself story. On this video, I chat remotely with Roman Arnold, the founder of Koblenz-based Canyon. But first, here are Canyon product manager Sebastian Wegerle and Canyon UK marketing manager Jack Noy. We chat for a bit, looking at just photos of the concept car, and then, very gamely, Jack picks up his laptop and takes it to the room where a full-size machine has been placed for the reveal.
We think there's a gap between the car and the bicycles, and we want to bridge this gap somehow. So first of all, there's a gap in the two different speeds and the two different infrastructures. Very much depending, and I do fully understand it's not 100% applicable to UK, but in most of European countries, you do have the two infrastructures, and it looks like you always have different capacity left in the two infrastructures. Yeah. So when you ride from the suburb towards the inner city, most of the time there is a fair chance that the streets are still not blocked, so you can ride there and do.
So like commuting from like suburbia into a city, be the first part of your trip. Maybe not so much these days, but the first part of your trip is hopefully fairly free-flowing B roads or single lane A roads. But then of course there reaches a point as you get to the centre where congestion is too much. So yeah.
And then most of the time there's the bicycle infrastructure is not occupied yet, and there's still capacity left, so you can just switch and move to the bike lane and continue there and operate the vehicle as an e-bike. So this is the idea of the two modes. So you have 60 kilometers per hour. You can be part of the traffic, not block the traffic when you are riding on the normal streets, and then you can switch to the e-bike mode and operate the vehicle on the cycling lane. Mm-hmm. The biggest reason in a survey, I think it was McKinsey that we read, was why don't you use the bicycle for your daily commute? Because it rains and then I get wet. So we have to.
You don't have a roof.
Yeah, exactly. We have to provide full weather protection, and therefore we have this closed capsule concept. So whenever it's raining, you're fully protected in your capsule and you're safe and dry inside. But when the sun is shining, you want to have this bicycle feeling, which is the air flowing through your hair. You can hear the birds singing and smell the bakery next door. So the open mode is then both giving you this cycling experience and everything that is nice about cycling, but also solving the heat management issue, because then you have the wind going in and it's not that you're locked in this capsule and it's heating up and you're getting bored.
You're not in the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this is the microcar segment. That's what it's called, a microcar.
It is, yeah, light electric vehicles, but it's, as we have this dual mode, and I think this is for a lot of infrastructures, this is the best concept because you can use both infrastructures. So it is really bridging the gap between the bicycle and the car, because we have these light electric vehicles like Renault Twizy, and this is actually the legal the legal category that we are in there in this 60 kilometer per hour mode. But it doesn't it doesn't change anything to good if you're stuck in the same traffic just sitting in a small vehicle there, right?
So the dimensions of this we get to, but they're built around or within existing cargo bike dimensions, which we're aware, again, like probably not so much for London, or the UK is quite a unique case, but for a lot of Europe, cycle lanes are relatively wide and cargo bikes seem to operate just fine. And it does seem that when cities are considering new bike lanes, they are thinking about cargo bikes that they should be able to work there.
So is this narrower than the Twizy?
Yeah, it's 80 centimeters only. So cargo bikes are between 70 and 90 centimeters wide, I would say. And I think in some countries there are regulations where you cannot be wider than 1 meter.
Okay.
So design, I think both for product and the concept, very important, because it helps you to generate acceptance. I always bring in the example of the Renault Twizy. I really like the Renault Twizy. I'm really a big fan of the Renault Twizy, but a lot of people think it looks awkward. Or the BMW C1, which was the scooter with the roof, and this leads to a lack of acceptance to really check out this concept and idea in a more detailed level. And therefore we think that especially with concepts, we have to go all in with the design, but also with our products. But it is not only about having a very attractive product, but also already considering aspects like easy to produce, easy assembly from the very beginning. So you see there also with the capsule concept, it could be injection molded, carbon fiber reinforced plastics, and then you have two big tools to produce the main parts of the vehicle already.
Do you see this as mail order still? Do you see this as you send this in the post, or is this you'd have to have a dealer network?
We don't think that we have to have a dealer network, because we think we're facing more or less the same challenges in our service concept. We do see a trend to service partners, either bike shops or mobile service partners, not only to solve these specific challenges, but also to solve the service challenges on all of our bikes, right? And also design-wise, we focus already on low maintenance. I will come to this in the next slide. You see it's still pedal operated, so you're pedaling in
style,
whichever mode you are, but due to packaging reasons and also maintenance reasons, we don't have a mechanical drive-through from the pedals to the motor, but it is electric. So you're pedaling into a generator to either, when you're in the car mode, generate a signal that is reinforced with the energy from the battery to go 60 kilometers per hour, or in the pedelec mode up to 25 kilometers, also adding additional power from the battery. But if you want to go faster and you pedal hard enough, then you generate so much energy that you can go faster than 25 kilometers per hour, and you just have a wire and no wear at all in this drivetrain.
No mechanical connection, just electric. And then I don't know if it gets to it, but there's like energy recovery as well. I think is a cool point and important. So you know how fast recumbent bikes can go downhill, Carlton. This is limited to 60, but with a decent hill, it's 100% something that's aerodynamic with this minimal, frontal area could go pretty fast. So the idea would be to have like a KERS system in place which limits the speed to 60, and while you're doing that, also recharge the battery, like a dynamo situation.
Yeah, so this is like it's a cross between a microcar and an HGB. So the human powered vehicle, like the Mike Burrows of this world, who've been championing them for a long time. So there's some electrical input, but you've still it's falling between two. It's interesting.
Exactly, and we're facing the same challenges as an HPV human powered vehicle. So you have the knees moving in the exact same area where you usually have the steering wheel, right? So you have to come up with alternative solutions, and also getting in and getting off the car is a challenge. So what we have here is, you see the two seats, and when you open the roof, you can access the car like a bathtub. It's exactly the same height, so there's a DIN norm in Europe for the height of a bathtub. We have a very similar height of the bathtub. In addition, you can put your hands here on the top, so it's easy to have the access when the capsule is fully opened. If you want to store something in the rear, either your child with a size up to 1.50 m or boxes, whatever, you can slide both seats to the front, and then the rear seat is in exactly the same position as the rider seat here in the picture, and you have access to the top very easily, and then you slide it back and you can jump in the car. The steering wheel, as mentioned, we had to change the steering concept. So it's now like a joystick concept on tank steering on the left and the right side. So you have two sticks that you move like this, and you also operate the brakes in this area. And then you just snap in your smartphone in the middle as your HMI to get all the information required and to operate the system.
How many wheels?
4. Yeah. 4 is the most stable option. And some key facts. So it needs to be lightweight to be efficient, right? So we're looking at 95 kilograms. The form factor is 83 centimeters wide, only a bit more than 1 meter high, and 2.30 meters long. The range is 150 kilometers, not because we expect people to travel on holidays with this vehicle, but to have a very convenient charging cycle, so you don't have to charge every day on a daily basis.
And possible price?
I think that we have to offer this bike, this vehicle, somewhere between 5,000 and 7,500 euros. Which is, then if you look at the entry-level cars, I would say it's Dacia and the small Volkswagen, they start at 9.5, something like this. So you have an advantage. You have a cheaper price, and you're positioned in between premium e-bike with the additional benefits of this concept and the car.
So basically, the first cars were made by cyclists. So even Benz, his car was 75% was from a tricycle shop in Frankfurt, in fact. So the wheels, everything on there was from a bicycle shop. And then all of the capital, the manufacturing technologies, the people transferred directly from cycling into early motoring. So when I do this story on Forbes, it's going to be very much along the lines of, there's a historical precedent here in that bicycle manufacturers have very often gone across and made cars. It's kind of, something that the technologies are actually very similar. Even though we think of cars and bicycles as two different vehicles, they're very, very similar in many, many ways.
Yeah, and it's just we don't have any ambitions to go the next step and the next step and the next step, and then end up building cars that we think might be a problem in the current situation. We will gain additional life quality by saving time, saving money, and having a better environment. And I think this is, if you start with this mindset, this is a different mindset than when the historic bicycle makers started making cars. because they were changing something in their perspective to a positive thing, right? They said, okay, we can offer more comfort. It is an automobile, so you don't have to pedal anymore because now we have a motor, right? You don't need a horse anymore. We have a motor now. So we add comfort, and we are in the situation where we can add a comfort, and we can add a comfort. And now we have built so comfortable cars that all this comfort that we added throughout the last couple of decades.
We're paying for
congestion,
pollution. Yeah. So there's definitely no ambition from Canyon to be a part of the problem on that side. It's definitely looking for a solution, I guess, using bikes as inspiration, but also recognizing that the car is so accepted. So 100% there needs to be some DNA of that.
So two questions. First one, I'll be rude. Second one is a more of a serious question. So the first question is, how serious are you at producing this, and how much of this is a concept to, it's an interesting thing, but you might not actually make this. So how confident are you of actually producing a commercial version of this?
Well, for us, it is very important to go with our ideas very early to the public to get the feedback. So current stages, we have had all these ideas and brainstorming and things that go into this concept. And now we try to prove the concept. So first of all, we want to prove the design. Then we want to check the acceptance. I mean, if you're moving such a vehicle in the car infrastructure, will it be a problem or will it be accepted? How does it operate on bike lanes? And if we can check all these points, right, then of course, then the next step is to work on producing it. We definitely we evaluate the performance with cargo bikes and similar vehicles that are somehow around to check the first points. We're working now on the first rideable prototype, not in the design, and it's only about the function, right? This is the next step. And if all the feedback is positive, or the feedback is so we can still implement it, and this is also important, if there's valuable feedback where people say, yeah, but this is a stupid idea. If it would be like this, then it would be more accepted. So we can take all this feedback. Then the next step is to work on an industrialization of it.
So my second question, and you almost partly answered it there, sort of, is that you're both too young to remember this, but there's a product called the Sinclair C5.
I have this.
Which
we bought it.
Okay,
I have it in the office.
Which
very funny.
A lot of ridicule. So it was, Sir Clive Sinclair said this is the revolution. It's going to revolution transport. It's this electric pedal device. It came out, and then people fell over laughing. And he got the rest of his career, he was dogged by the ridicule he got for producing the C5. Are you ready for the same amount of ridicule? And how are you going to tackle it?
We start with the concept, right? So now everybody can laugh now. And if we see that everybody starts laughing, then we don't produce it. But I think we avoided a few mistakes that they made on the Sinclair. With the Sinclair, you fell over every time you tried to move around the corner. Actually, the Sinclair doesn't address anything like weather protection, because you get at least as wet as you get on a bicycle. Maybe even wetter, because you're sitting very close to the ground, and whenever there's a car driving through, you get it not only from the top but also from the bottom. But it was so funny and impressive thing that we actually, and it's hard to find them, we bought one. We bought, I think 2 years ago, we bought one to also have a first evaluation of the form factor. And of course, the situation has not changed. If you're riding this through town, everybody starts laughing at you. You're a joke.
I did say, someone mentioned it earlier, and I was like, no, I think they have one in the office.
We have one in the office, and what is also very funny that I think the perspective has also changed. I mean, bringing a Sinclair today, you would not end up with the same reactions, because the mindset has already changed. And this is something, of course, yeah, there are issues with this concept of the C5. Yeah, 100% agree. But also the acceptance would just today, it's a different situation. It's not the king of mobility is the car and that's the holy grail. No, it has changed.
Well, he sold 5,000.
Yeah. But,
So
but his business case was
he
not
made
based
14,000
on
and he sold 5,000.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
It's not bad. If your business case is to sell 5,000, then everything is fine. But if your business case is to sell 50,000 and you sell only 5,000, then you're bankrupt.
Yes.
And we are fully aware of that. So that's also what I said. I mean, it has to be viable. We're discussions with some automobile industry suppliers that are working on motors and things like that for types of vehicles in this category, and they asked us what's just a rough idea of a quantity that you could sell in the first year or the second year, and we said, well, in a business to consumer, for end consumers, not for commercial applications, because commercial applications people do calculate differently. We said 1,000 to 2,000 units. That is our business case.
And actually, can you take the laptop and then take it downstairs, or?
I got Carlton. I'm just going to show you the thing up here. Yeah. Okay. So this was the setup which we had prepared. Can you still see?
I can see, yes.
Yeah, cool. Okay, great. And then.
But yes, I can.
So let me go back.
Oh, yeah. Give us a walk around.
Yeah, sure. So the back of it, and it gets a little bit tight for me to show you, but then we'll go into the cab, and got a little man in there. And then, do you want to slide the canopy a little bit?
So this is the fully open door, right?
Jump in the bathtub.
This is by the wind technology below, and you have to press there, and you can still hear this one is somehow.
The line's still clean.
Cool.
And then from the front, that's got like the grill and stuff built in for extra ventilation as well. And then even down to make this 96 kilos, you know, if you start putting car brakes on stuff, then all of a sudden you have 30 kilos worth of brakes and discs. So this is running, see, here you go. This is running like a TRP cargo bike brake, and just like bicycle disc brakes on 4 wheels, which provides a lot of stopping power. So, and combined with the curve system limiting speed and helping with deceleration, it should slow down fine. So.
Thanks to Sebastian and Jack for the product run through and the reveal. Now, here's Canyon's founder, Roman Arnold. So where do you see the concept car in, say, 2 years' time? So you bring the first one out. Where do you see it developing?
So I have discussion also with Simon. Is a concept car the right word? Or we only call it car? What defines a car? But let's say the right word is concept car, but we also could say concept bicycle or concept mobility or whatever. We did this because you were in Koblenz, and I would say what makes us go every day to work is because we love bicycles. And when we developed this bike, also we are a big company now, or medium-sized company now, so we also have to do turnover and have to make some money. But the good thing is, I still think our very first idea is how we can make our life as a cyclist better, how we can going out with new, and you see a general shift in the whole society. People don't want to go with cars anymore. They want to fly less. All these things to more sustainability. But sometimes if you go with a car and if you go for 10 miles and it's raining, yeah, you feel, maybe I today better should take my car. Or if you have to do some grocery shopping, put something in. And this was the idea behind this concept thing, that we say, okay, now with the possibility of an e-motor, we can make a very light, protected bike from the outside, where we can be very sustainable in moving from A to B, maybe also bring our small kid to the kindergarten and do some grocery shopping. This was the very idea behind it. And then I allowed my people to work on this idea. We are already in a stage that we are in discussion with a car manufacturer, that we say, okay, is it possible to cooperate with him on the chassis? I cannot say in 3 years you will see this car, but our goal is to do something like this in the future, because we think it's a good part of the mobility shift in the future, because you need something what is far lighter, with less energy consumption, but you need it a little bit more comfortable than today. Yeah.
So Adam Opel in the 19th century, so 1890s, he was a bicyclist. His sons were all bicyclists. Opel was a bicycling company.
Yeah.
Opel very quickly became not a bicycling company. It became an automobile company. So the trajectory of lots of bicycle companies in the 19th century were start with bicycles, and many of them evolved into car companies. So it's not a crazy idea to think of that maybe in 20, 30 years' time, Canyon is Canyon cars, not Canyon bicycles. Is that a crazy idea, or is that...
It's not a crazy idea, but I would not call it Canyon will be Canyon cars. Canyon bicycles will be also always Canyon bicycles, because this is what we think is the future. But I would say it otherwise. Canyon will produce bicycles also in the future, which can substitute cars, and some way also leaned some things from what we think today as a car. But I totally believe from inside, car for sure will be not the mobility concept on short distance in the future. I would say, and if I would be very if I want to polarize also, I would say the century of the car was the 20th century. Mm-hmm. Now we are in the next stage. The car will not be the future mobility. The car will have a place in future mobility. And the reason why Adam Opel changed to cars is because there was a whole shift from horse to bicycle to car. And I think also car companies has to shift and has to see on different kind of mobility. I will not say there will be no SUVs. There also is a purpose for SUVs. If you have a big family, if you want to go to holiday and this, but I believe pretty much it will be not the same like it was before. When I talked to the German magazine here, I thought I have to shame when I see how much money politics spend for the next generation of Autobahn and this, and then compare how less money they spend to make the car more bicycle friendly. And it's not because I'm from the bicycle industry. It's just because every day in the traffic jam, it's obvious that this cannot be our future.